As mentioned, today we are talking about 3 approaches for analyzing market data to discover what's moving the market, what's pulling it up or down, or what are those trends that are driving, what you might be seeing at the market index or whole market level. If we could jump into the next slide. My name is Connor Kitko, and I'm joined today by Jen Kelly, a product manager here at YCharts, who worked on bringing to life a lot of the features that we're going to be talking about. How are you doing today, Jen?
Hi, Connor. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very good. We've got we're definitely into the winter weather here in Chicago. Hope everyone else is keeping warm elsewhere. Just a couple housekeeping items before we jump in. Quick reminder, nothing that we discussed today is investment advice, and YCharts is not acting as an advising party regarding client funds in any way. Second, a recording of this session will be sent to everyone who registered, so not to worry if you want that recording. It will hit your email inbox tomorrow, and it will also be posted onto the YCharts YouTube page. So if you head over to YouTube and search YCharts, please subscribe and like that channel, and you'll never miss this recording or any others. Finally, if you are a YCharts user, you can, as always, use the chat feature within the tool or reach out to your account manager to ask any questions about what we're discussing today. And now let's get into the good stuff. We talked about these 3 approaches, and what are they? So we're going to be using some of these brand new pages in YCharts that we're really excited to show you all to talk through these 3 approaches for just understanding what's happening in the market, what's driving the action. So we're going to show some cool ways to look at and identify stocks that are pulling up an index or pulling it down. We're also going to dig deep into sector and category performance to identify what sectors are dragging or lifting the market, and what names within those sectors or on the fund side categories, what names are driving the action. And then finally, our third approach, we're going to look at fund flows or asset flows. You may be familiar with the monthly fund flows report that YCharts puts out. Tons of great data in there. And Jen and team have done some even greater work to bring a lot of that data onto the front end of YCharts, so that understanding, okay, what are investors excited about or what are they fading, that is going to be on the front end for everyone to leverage and do some more analysis. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Jen to talk about approach number 1, stocks that are pulling the index up or down. And Jen, you're going to use our brand new stocks page to show us some good information.
All right, thank you, Connor. Hi, everybody. As Connor mentioned, I'm going to be showing you a few new pages today, and we are going to get started with the stocks page. The stocks page is a great page to just have open throughout the course of the day. Can help you get kind of a pulse on the market, see how things are moving throughout the day. So just kind of a nice page to have up and glance at occasionally. This would also be a great page to find any talking points if you have any client meetings coming up, and it can be a great place to start any analysis into why the markets are moving in a certain way. So let's get started. You can access the stocks page by hovering over the data tab at the top, and then it's just your first option here. So on the stocks page, this first section here is the indices chart. So this is pretty straightforward. It's going to be showing you the performance of your 3 main market indices over time. So we've got the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500. You can choose your time selection. So here we can see what it's doing over the course of today, and you can get a little more granular if you hover over. We can also see how it's performed maybe over the course of the month or year to date as well. So moving down, let's take a look at individual indices. So this module is going to show you the overall performance of an index and which stocks are moving the most within that index. So you can see here, I am looking at the S&P 500 over one day. And here We're going to see exactly how well the S&P is performing for the day. You can see it's up around 36 points or about 1%. We can move over and also see how it has moved across various time frames. We also have other indexes that you can look at. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Let's say you're interested in Canadian markets and you want to take a look at the TSX. You can also edit your indices. So any index that we have in here, you can just type away and it will show up for you. So let's go back to the S&P. We can see who the top gainers are for today. So we can see, CCL is up on a percentage basis about 12% today. Lockheed Martin is another top mover. And we can also see our top losers. So these are the stocks that are not doing as well today. Let's say you want to dig a little deeper and you want to take a look at Lockheed Martin and see maybe why it is up for the day. You can click on the box and it will take you to the actual stocks tab. Maybe you navigate to the news tab to kind of see like what's going on for the day and why that stock might be up. Also, so then we have this other section pulling up the index and pulling down the index. So this is going to tell you which funds are contributing the most to points for that index for the time frame. So we can see that the S&P is up around 50 points for the day now, and we can see that Apple has contributed almost 5 points to that, Amazon around 3, and so forth. And then we can see down here that Netflix has taken away, a little bit, and these other funds are also Adobe, taking away a bit as well. So this is a great section to be able to see, what is really pulling up or pulling down the index. Over here, you'll also be able to see events and news. So you'll be able to see any upcoming dividend or earning announcements for the constituents of the index that you have chosen. All right, so this is really a good place to initially see how the markets are performing overall and see who's really driving that momentum. If you ever have any questions, we have a lot of this written out for you in this help module. So this is a great place to go if you have any initial questions.
Yeah, one quick one that a live question that came through, Jen. You did show this, but if you click that Edit Indices button in the top right, this is, folks, where you can search for an additional index. You can use those arrow icons to rearrange things if you want. For example, the Russell to be that first one every time you open this page. Very easy to do so with that Edit Indices button in the top right of the module.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So that is approach number 1, taking a look at the index level. Now I'm going to be looking at approach number 2, which is looking at the market by stock sectors and fund categories. Okay, so we're still on the stocks page, but now we're going to be looking at them by sector. So here you can see we've broken out all 11 stock sectors for you, and we're showing you how each sector is performing. So you can kind of see how they're performing as a whole, and then across in comparison to each other. You're also able to select your time frame. So today we're looking at today, and here we can see industrials is up quite a bit, and yeah, everything looks to be pretty up. Let's say we want to look over a different time frame, 5 days, we can see utilities are down. This is a good place to go where, let's say you're maybe looking to get a little more diversified and you want to reduce your technology allocation, for example, and you're kind of looking for a new sector to add into your portfolio. This would be a nice place to go in and see. Also, if you click on any of these sector headers, it's going to take you to the sector page for that sector. And this is going to show you a lot of nice aggregated key stats and fundamentals for that sector as a whole. And you can also go into this industries in this sector right here, and you'll be able to see all of the indices, all of the industries within that sector. So it's a nice little bonus to be able to click into that. So going back to the stocks page, again, if you are interested in Canadian markets, you can navigate to Canada and see what is moving there. Within each sector, we are going to show you these 6 funds with the largest market cap. So in here, within communication services, you're going to see the largest 6 funds, 6 stocks within there, just to kind of show you, how the largest ones are performing over the time frame.
Yeah. And Jen, I think one question to anticipate, when you switch over to the Canadian sectors, are we looking at dollars or Canadian dollars at this point?
Yeah, so for Canadian funds, you're going to see all of this in Canadian dollars. That's correct, Connor.
Right, for the Canadian stocks, okay.
Correct, yep.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so that is a look at the stocks page and performance across sectors. Now let's take a look at the new fund pages and see how different fund categories are performing. There are 3 new fund pages, one for mutual funds, one for ETFs, and one for closed-end funds. You're going to find them all here, also within the data dropdown. They're all in the same format, the same look and feel, same chart types. So I'm just going to be showing you one today, which is the ETFs. And similar to the stocks pages, these pages provide an overall view, really of how the fund markets are performing, who the leaders and laggers are. They're also a great initial place to start when you're doing any deeper analysis. So again, I'm showing you now the ETFs page. Both ETFs and mutual funds will have this toggle, so you can choose to look at things at either US or Canadian funds. Today, we're going to look at US funds. So looking at this first module, performance by style. So this module is going to provide a visual on how each fund style is performing. We have equity-focused funds in this tab, and then we can navigate over to fixed income-focused funds over here. So these boxes are telling you a couple of different things. So the size of the box represents how much collective AUM the funds in that style have. So a larger box is going to indicate that all of the funds within that style have more AUM than a smaller box. So here, large cap blend is our biggest box. The funds here are collectively larger from an AUM perspective than, let's say, funds in small cap blend. The color of the box also represents relative performance. So a darker red here is going to indicate worse performance than a lighter red. So you can see large cap growth, is one of the darker reds comparative to like mid cap value, which really has not declined as much. And let's move out to like 5 years, when things are more in the green. Again, the darker colors are going to represent more like a higher performance, as you can see here with like large cap growth and mid cap growth over here. So showing funds like in this manner can help you see, kind of pull out some unique insights. As you can see, over 5 years, growth funds, so large cap, mid cap, and small cap have really been they've dominated growth. In small cap and value over here, and value has maybe not performed as well over the longer term. But going back to 1 year, we can see that the growth funds have not performed as well as some of the others. So kind of an interesting insight there. Let's say you want to dig a little deeper and take a look at all of the funds within one of these boxes. If you just click on any of these boxes, we are going to take you to a pre-populated comp table that is going to show you all of the ETFs, all of the equity ETFs for that equity style within your chosen domicile. And then this is going to have all of your pre-populated return values. So you can click in a box, go to this comp table to be able to see what funds are in there, maybe take your research a bit further there.
And Jen, am I correct that because you're coming from the ETF page that opened up a comp table of all ETFs, if you came from the mutual fund page, you would get a comp table of all the mutual funds? Cool.
Correct. It is all customized. So if you are looking at Canadian funds, this domicile is going to show you everything that is, domiciled in Canada. The equity styles will change based upon the box that you are looking at. So we made it very easy for you to see kind of everything that is included.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at this next module here, performance by broad asset class. So this module is going to tell you which funds are moving the most within each asset class. So this would be really helpful when you've already targeted an asset class that you're interested in, and you want to see which funds to further look into. So here we're on the allocation tab. We have all of the broad asset classes here for you. Let's say you don't want to look at any of these 5. You can edit, and let's say you want to look at, money market. Just drag that up, and you will be able to see money market here. But let's go and look at commodities. So looking at commodities over 3 years, these are going to be the ETFs that, these are the top gainers over the last 3 years, and these are the top losers. So again, like with any of our pages, when you see these boxes, you can click into it and you'll be taken directly to that page's quote tab where you can do a bit more research. So to recap this second approach, with the previous stock sector heat map and then these 2 fund category charts, this is an additional way to understand how different areas of the market are performing, and can be especially valuable, let's say if you're employing a sector-based strategy or perhaps managing an allocation-based portfolio. These can be helpful for your research needs.
Awesome. That's great stuff, Jen. Coming across both the stocks page and the ETF and mutual fund pages, sectors, style boxes, and the categories on the funds. Really great. A lot of ways to slice and dice this market data. That was approach number 2, and now approach number 3. We're going to be looking at fund flows or asset flows to identify some of those potentially emerging trends.
Yeah, so as Connor mentioned, now let's take a look at fund flows across our different fund categories, which is really helpful to see which areas of the market people are most optimistic about and which areas they are looking to reduce exposure to. So this fund flow data is similar to what you're used to seeing in the fund flow reports, but now that data is a bit more comprehensive, and now you can see it all within the app. You will still have access to all of our previous fund flow reports and visual decks. We've added a link right here to the bottom that will take you to all of our resources tab, which houses all of our fund flow reports. Those are all still available for you. But now we have put the data into the app so that you can take it a bit further. All right, so you can see here in this fund flows and performance over time, the 1 month, 3 month, year to date, and 1 year flows for 10 key categories. And we've also provided the same timeframes return data for those 10 key categories. These column headers are all sortable. So let's say you're interested in 1 year flows, you want to see what has the highest, you can click and these 10 key categories will sort for you. What I would recommend doing though is going to see all categories here. And what this is going to do is open up a page that shows fund flows for every single category. So it's going to have the same metrics, the same 1 month, 3 month, year to date, and 1 year. But again, this is just going to be across all of your categories. So if you're interested in a specific one, you can come here and find it that way. Again, column headers are sortable. You can also export this into Excel if you want to dig a little bit deeper. All of these categories are clickable. So if you click any of these, you will be taken to a comp table with all of the funds in that, category. All right, so back to the fund pages. So that is this module right here. Wanted to note that fund flow data is updated around the middle of the month, somewhere around like the 10th to 13th is kind of when all of that data comes in. So that is when you will start to see updated numbers for this. All right, so within the last module, we go one layer deeper and we provide an overview of which categories have had the most movement for both fund flows and performance, as well as the top funds that are contributing to that movement. So right here, we are seeing the 6 funds that have had the most inflows, and the 6 categories that have had the most inflows, and the 6 categories that have had the most outflows, as well as the 6 funds within each category that is contributing the most to those inflows or outflows. So you can see here over the last month, Large Blend has had almost 20 billion in inflows, and SPY and VOO and VTI have contributed the most to that. And then moving down, we can see financial category has had the most outflows, and we can also see which funds have contributed the most to that. So a really nice way to be able to see which funds are contributing the most to market movement. We can also look at the performance tab here, and this is showing us data in the same way. Let's move to 3-month, for example. So over 3 months, we can see the categories that have the 6 categories that have performed the highest, and the 6 categories that have performed the lowest. Going back to fund flows, let's look at 1 month. You can also use quick flows here to dig a little bit deeper. So let's take a look at the short government category, for example. Let's say historically you've been using a different fund in order to get exposure to this category, but you're not seeing your fund here in the top performers for this. So you can open up quick flows by clicking this blue tab on the side. And let's type in some of these funds that we're seeing that are contributing quite a bit to these high inflows. So we'll just type them, and our nice auto completer is going to make things very easy for me to select them. So we've got 3 here, and I would also type in the fund that I had previously been using to be able to compare all of them together. And let's say we want to look at different risk metrics. So we have our funds typed in. We're going to go down here, click risk comparison. This is going to take us to a pre-populated comp table with a bunch of financial metrics associated with risk, and be able to see all of those risk metrics for the funds that we typed in to look at. So this is a quick and easy way to be able to compare different funds to each other, maybe see why certain funds are performing in a different way than funds you've been using. All right, so back to this module. You can also edit your categories. Let's say there are specific categories that you want to look at. By default, we're going to show you the top 6 and the bottom 6 performers. But let's say you are interested in some global categories. You can start typing and select any of these and kind of make your own heat map in that way. All right, so that is the ETFs page. Like I mentioned, it looks very similar to the mutual fund page and the closed-end fund page. The closed-end fund page does have a couple of differences, so I will just hop over and show you that very quickly. We do not have Canadian coverage for our closed-end fund, so we don't have that Canadian toggle down there. And of course, closed-end funds don't have flows, so we show you more return metrics there instead of flows. But yeah, so all 3 of these pages are going to kind of have the same look and feel. All right, so that's a look at both fund flows and performance across categories. I hope these pages are helpful for you in teasing out some of the trends and insights into what's happening in the markets, and I hope they all provide you with a good starting point for any of your research needs.
Thank you, Jen. We are going to quickly recap everything that Jen went through, and then we've got a number of questions to read through as well. But as you saw, through all these new pages, which are all under the data dropdown in your black navigation bar at the top of YCharts, tons of great modules, customizations, editing the indices or the categories that you're looking at for you to use and follow and maybe act on any of those trends, like Jen kind of showed with quick flows, we can see what is gaining a lot of assets, a lot of new assets, and then compare some of those funds and try to maybe understand why they are getting so much activity. Awesome. Now let's answer some questions. Definitely a number of these came through, and Jen, I would ask if you don't mind kind of navigating around to help us answer some of them if we need to. So one of the questions from Anthony, is there any way to view up and down volume throughout the day? So going back to the stocks page, the answer is no. We are just looking at performance, not volume. You know, if you do go to an individual, if you clicked into an individual security, there you could look at some volume trends by going over to a quote page and then the data tab. And I know a lot of people like to look at 30-day average volume, but that is not shown on this page per se, but you can, you know, get into that. There we go. Very easily and quickly, we can get into that, that metric there. Another, as of course, when we roll out a cool new feature, you guys request some even bigger and badder abilities. So right now, you know, we're looking at these 8 top gainers, 8 top losers, and there is no ability. Someone asked if we could go up to 20. Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. Same thing on specific date ranges. We do have this, you know, large number of look back periods, as granular as 1 day, and then you can even go to the max for that index to see, you know, lifetime, I would assume. What are some of the top gainers, top losers, what's pulling it up or pulling it down. However, if you're looking for custom timeframes, you are able to do that in things like the fundamental charts tool, or even in comp tables, you can add a custom time period, just not on this stocks page itself. Another question from Tyler, if we could go back to one of those index or sector pages, Jen. So when we click into one of these here, you know, all of this data is exportable to Excel using that export button in the top right. It cannot be exported using the Excel add-in because this is all aggregated data. We're not looking at individual securities, which is how, you know, the add-in is powered. You need to be referencing a security, but here we're aggregating every security in this sector. So still get that data in Excel, but it will not be linked for live updates, unfortunately. Another question from Michael. Yes, he asked about comparing mutual funds and ETFs within quick flows, and you can definitely do that. So if Jen opened up a quick flow and then wanted to say, you know, let's throw in a mutual fund or an ETF and kind of mix the grouping in there. So maybe just, yeah. You still see all of these pre-built analyses that Jen can leverage. And depending on the security type that you put into quick flows, you may get a different list of options there, because quick flows is smart and it knows, you know, certain analyses are relevant for different security types. And Jen, while we're here, do you want to quickly jump into account settings and show some of the new quick flows preferences?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a new quick flow preferences area that you can access by going to your name in the upper right and then navigating to manage account. And then if you navigate to user preferences, you are now going to see a quick flows preferences area. So this is a nice way to be able to kind of pick and choose what quick flows you see. So if you just want, you know, a short list that you use quite often, you are able to just uncheck ones that let's say you don't want the dividends chart. You just uncheck that. You know, you like the technical ones, so you would check those. So yeah, it's a nice way to kind of clean up that list to just see the ones that are helpful for you.
Awesome. Even more customization. That's the name of the game. And one other quick flows related question, which is a great one from Andres. Jen, could you open up quick flows, a single security quick flow, and drop in VTI?
VTI?
So Andres wants to know, yes, VTI. Wants to know about finding alternatives or similar funds. So here's some of these quick flows that we see. Find similar fund, find funds ranked in categories. So it'll look at VTI's category and look at the top ranking ones there. And then lower cost alternative is going to build out a screen for similar funds with lower expense ratios. So
yeah, exactly.
Lots of great pre-built, find me an alternative, find me a good replacement, all of that pre-built for you, reducing it down to just a couple clicks. It seems like that is about all the questions that we have some time for, and wanted to make this a quick one just for you all to get an action-packed half hour here. We did talk about, monitoring trends, identifying those top and bottom performers, maybe names, category sectors to look into or to avoid, and then finding new ideas. We saw that Jen was able to go down the rabbit hole really easily when she found a category or a broad asset class that was interesting. It was super easy to identify some individual funds or individual stocks within those categories that we could consider adding to a portfolio. Jen, thank you so much for bringing these awesome features to YCharts for us. And thank you for the tour today.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you everyone for joining.
All right, that does it for us. Thanks again. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.